Hi everyone, Goddess of Radical Self-Love here from Mecca. Make everyone count always. And I am joined with
the Conscious Queen.
Yay, she's finally on. We are a resource network for caregivers, care receivers, and resources within the long-term services and supports community. Today, we are going to be talking about the dark side of long-term services and supports resources. So, if you watched the blog or read the blog yesterday, I talked about having some detailed information about one of our resources that has not been so kind to the Conscious Queen. I have some history on this resource, so I'm going to explain to you what it is, how much money our taxpayers' dollars go to fund this resource, and Orion will tell us a little bit about how the resource supports you, and also how, it maybe presents some barriers that don't really need to be there, right?
Yeah.
So, the Rehabilitation Act, including activities aimed at improving the education and post-school outcomes of children receiving Supplemental Security Income, SSI, and their families, may result in a long-term improvement in SSI child recipients' income status and self-sufficiency. That's what we're talking about today. How to improve our disabled population utilizing Social Security at this time to improve their economic status. How that's done. Okay? So, one of the ways this is done is through VRS, Vocational Rehabilitation Services, right?
Yep.
She actually knows more about vocational rehabilitation services than I do. I just hear the back end a lot of times about the obstacles she is presented with, and then I do the research. So, from the Department of Education, about $3.5 around there $1 million of our taxpayer dollars go to vocational rehab services each year. So sorry for this. So, for carrying out to the extent not otherwise provided, the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and the Helen Keller National Centers Act. $3.5 billion, of which $3.4 billion shall be for grants for vocational rehabilitation services under Title I of the Rehabilitation Act. Any of this information is available on the site, on our site, or in the description below. I'll have links for you. So, from the ICI, I did really look for some more current research done to explain how much money we save per year by helping our disabled population get to work or having a post-secondary education. In the long term, how much money will that save taxpayers? Couldn't really find any firm numbers, recent numbers. So what I found is from the ICI, and this is a research study that was done actually from the late 80s to the late 90s. And the ICI, which we are both board members of in Minnesota, is the Institute on Community Inclusion. So, the information age has arrived with an array of technical advances leading to greater employment options and growing prosperity for the vast majority of the population. A post-secondary education is the increasingly, some of these are weird how they're written, is the increasingly important means by which people may benefit from these expanded employment options. However, if this benefit is to spread to the people with disabilities, they too must have access to post-secondary educational options. Therefore, it is important to note that the participation rate in post-secondary education for individuals with disabilities has not increased as much as the rate for the general population. It is also important to note the simultaneous increase in the need for post-secondary education in order to secure meaningful employment, along with ever-increasing disparities in employability and earning potential between those with and those without a post-secondary education. As a result, it is critical to determine the barriers preventing access to post-secondary education for individuals with disabilities. We can actually help a lot with that, can't we, Orion? Yep. You've had quite the experience to share in a lot of ways, not just with VRS, but even with your first experience, right, with school. So we'll talk about that too, okay? Yep. So, like, maybe we should, on the way, take some notes as things pop up that you might think of. So, I would say first we need to talk about compassion, right? And then actually understanding their job at times. Like, they don't actually understand their job at times, I think, right? So, they don't really have a lot of answers. Sometimes the employees with the resources for further resources or that information that's needed. And 3, the time span of when things actually get done. That would be a good one. But yours would be like in high school, going to the first college, and the difference with first college and second college. But first we'll obviously talk about VRS. Sorry, we should have probably done that before the video started. Whatever, you can see how we work. Data from the NCES shows that post-secondary education improves earnings for people with disabilities. The data from RSA also shows higher earnings for people who receive post-secondary educational services. Earnings are still much lower than for the general population. However, who receive college university training did have income above the federal poverty standard. Also, when looking at reliance on federal income supports, people who receive post-secondary education services were less likely to be receiving supplemental security income or Social Security disability supports, income supports. So, post-secondary education equals individuals off of Social Security disability insurance income supports. So we invest in an education for just, well, a technical school could even be 6 months for some people. Some training is only a couple weeks. Some longer. Maybe you decide to get a doctorate. Maybe it's 8 years, right? That is a huge difference between a lifetime of support that we would be needing to fund if Orion, the Conscious Queen, decided to not go to school, right? Mm-hmm. And just sit home and watch TV all day. But at times it does it kind of feels like that would be what some people might want, or be easier because
then you don't have to deal with a system, I guess.
The system in making the gains towards a higher education or towards following your dream.
Yep.
Or whatever it is that you're, you know, what your strengths or, you know, your, yeah. So the data reviewed in this brief reveals that the cost of providing post-secondary education has not grown disproportionately to the increases in costs for other closures. Although the cost of educational services is higher, the higher earnings suggest an interesting implication under the new Ticket to Work incentives. Under the ticket, a VR agency can receive payment for up to 60 months for a SSI or SSDI recipient who earns enough such that they no longer receive Social Security Administration payments. The earnings at closure for people receiving post-secondary education services appear to be high enough to meet this criteria. The cutoff for recipients is about $11.50 a month or $13,000 a year. Let's hope that's higher. Both groups of people receiving post-secondary educational services have projected incomes well above this level, as noted. Another important implication is for people with disabilities. I'm not going to read this part because it's not even about what we're talking about. It's about families and whatever. So what is VRS, Vocational Rehabilitation Services? You haven't read this, so what is it, Orion? Let's quiz her on the spot. I keep on saying your name, too.
It's a service to help people with disabilities either find a job or help them get through a post-secondary education.
So, can anybody with disabilities utilize VRS?
No, they have to hit requirements, like at least 3 requirements, I believe. And I think they also have to be on SSI or SSDI.
I think you're very intelligent with this question. So, the Vocational Rehabilitation VR program provides vocational and rehabilitation services to individuals with disabilities to help them prepare for, secure, regain, or retain employment. Vocational rehabilitation services can reduce or remove barriers to employment. Vocational rehabilitation or VR programs exist in each state and territory. VR agencies support people with disabilities to find and keep competitive integrated employment. This VR mission aligns with inclusive higher educational programs which support people with intellectual disabilities and physical disabilities, have access to college, build a strong relationship between VR and these college programs. It is essential for helping people with intellectual disabilities to increase their independence, find and keep fulfilling jobs, and boost their self-sufficiency and physical disabilities. Vocational Rehabilitation, VR, is a federal state program that helps people who have physical or mental disabilities to get or keep jobs. VR is committed to helping people with disabilities find meaningful careers in integrated and competitive employment. And then also this last resource I found is a tip sheet on optimizing VR services. I think we should do another one though. I think we should add that to like our to-do list because I think we can come up with some more tips.
Yeah.
And that have more like a check off the box, kind of like you did with your accessibility. Yeah. We are going to make an accessibilities app as well, so it could be kind of used for both, right?
Yeah.
So the tip sheet. This is what I actually found the best part of the tip sheet. The introduction. Your counselor wants to see you succeed and will provide information and support to assist you in exercising informed choices through the rehabilitation process as you work towards your employment goals. That is number one. The counselor. Wouldn't you say?
Yep.
If you have every single tip outlined perfectly, what do you need more than anything?
Support.
Support. We have not talked about this before this, right? Okay. I just want to make sure, because that is number one. So, what kind of services can you get, right? Career exploration experiences, education and training to include help in building a plan to pay for tuition, books, and fees to reach your career goals. Assistive technology, software, or PDAs or other assistive devices, if needed. Tools, equipment, and uniforms for participation in training or on the job. Transportation to get to work. Exploring an option for starting a small business. And VR services are customized to adapt to each person's unique circumstances. Decisions are made using informed choices by weighing out the pros and cons and making fully informed choices. VR may ask you to participate in a self-assessment to identify your own strengths and interests, and VR's goal is to help you obtain or advance in your job or career. Vocational Rehabilitation Services can contact MECA, so they can also use the MECA Maslow motivational map as well. Out of that list, Orion, let's look at this. What do you think VRS, since we have, how long have you been using VRS, utilizing their services?
Since my senior year in high school.
How difficult was it to actually get to the point of utilizing VRS? Did anybody actually ever tell you, even at high school?
No.
Nope. We found out from a friend. Interesting.
They said I wasn't even qualified.
Oh, so somebody who wasn't even from VRS was already making an assessment.
Yep.
Interesting. Sorry. That's not the way it's supposed to work, though. Okay. And then, how do you think your relationship has been with your counselor? Because she has been your counselor now since the beginning, correct?
Yep.
How do you think that relationship has gone? Why?
She hasn't really helped me, I guess, and hasn't been that supportive.
Would you call her a cheerleader?
No.
Do you think that should be one of the qualifications?
Yeah.
Like somebody who's excited to see you, doing the things that will help you be able to have your own income and your own stability, and right? Okay.
No matter what job you pick.
No matter what job you pick. What if you change your mind?
Shouldn't matter.
Okay. So, what was the first issue, do you think?
Me going to an out-of-state school.
And why did you choose to go to an out-of-state school?
Because they had my major, and it was a small school.
How many other schools had your major?
2 in the surrounding states.
So not one school had your major in Minnesota?
No.
Okay. So, how long did you believe you wanted to, what is it that you wanted to do?
Child life.
And what does Child Life do?
They help children with children in hospitals get through life-threatening or traumatic events in hospitals. So like cancer patients, children with cancer, or surgical procedures,
Or arthritis.
they help them to get through the hard processes and their families.
So, how, and you knew that you wanted to do that, how?
From experiencing my whole childhood.
So they helped you.
Yeah.
Would you call child life specialists cheerleaders?
Yes.
Okay. So you wanted to be a cheerleader for life.
Yes.
Although you had a change of heart after
experiencing my first year at the school I picked.
Because why?
Because I figured that it wasn't the career I wanted, and it wasn't the school I wanted to spend 4 years at. Plus, it was 4 hours away from home, or 5 hours.
And we'll go into the school issues another time, because that's going to be a big, going to be a video all of its own, or a vlog, whatever you want to call it. So, you decided you didn't want to go into that career as much because it wasn't as focused in psychology as you wanted, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you changed to do what?
Graphic design.
And where are you doing that?
The U of M.
And how do you like that program?
I love it.
All right. So, because you've always been artsy-fartsy and totally like, you know, you're a photographer and you've already built all these websites and you're super, super awesome at all of this stuff already. So it was kind of like,
yes,
you're already talented, so you might as well, you know, get paid for it.
Yes.
Although she's not with Mecca yet. Oh, well. Come on, that's why we need funding, right? All right. The conscious queen needs to get paid. So, all right. And then let's go on to this, because, so did they help with your career exploration at all? But, I mean,
not really, since I already had my career picked out.
Okay.
But she wasn't, like, very supportive about.
And how was that funded? I mean, was your anything funded beyond? Well, basically, did you have any expenses at the end of the year?
At the end of
your year when you got done?
Yes.
Unexpected expenses?
Yes.
How much?
I believe it's $10,000 plus $300 for the school.
But there was a big chunk of change there that I ended up having to come up with, right? So that you could even go to the new school.
Yeah.
Because we had to be able to transfer get your transcripts.
Well, in total it was $500 for the school, and we had to pay $200 to get my transcripts to go to the youth.
I thought it was more than that.
Or $300.
I think it was a lot more than that.
Or
Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So, and your room and board wasn't covered, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and neither was the gas in order for the caregiver or the hotels to go back and forth every single weekend. But it was okay. I was still your cheerleader, and I didn't make you feel like crap because of it, right? Okay. Just making sure. I was on board with whatever you wanted, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I was extremely excited when you switched to the U of M. So, basically, let's see, education and training to help you build a plan to pay for tuition, books, and fees. Was any of that done? Building a plan to help you pay for tuition, books, and fees?
Well, they automatically pay for, at the U, they automatically pay for tuition, books, and fees. But At at Edgewood, they don't.
Okay, wait, though, because the stuff we're going to talk about that's in here doesn't show that.
Oh, no. So there's only some supplies they will pay for. So, like, tuition they pay for and books.
But was any of this discussed before you started school?
No. They don't really discuss anything.
So there was no plan?
No. And, like, before I had chose to go to the school that's 4 hours away, they hadn't told us that it wasn't going to be covered. I don't know why, but they hadn't told us that.
So that's a big part that's missing.
Yeah.
We need to focus on the plan, okay?
Yes.
So, building a plan to pay. That needs to be definitely discussed to reach your goals. So, because I would love to do a phone call so we can hear. Not right now, but we will eventually. So, assistive technology, software or PDAs or other assistive devices if needed. How does that work? Did you need any assistive technology, or do you? Has anybody asked?
No, they haven't asked, but I've told them that I did. And, like, obviously a college student needs a computer. So, that would obviously be a assistive technology for someone with disabilities. And so I ended up having to pay for my first computer to go to my first college. They didn't pay for it or ask if I needed one.
And then this year, didn't you need a special computer?
Yeah, for my program, you need basically the top computer. And I had to pay for it with my tuition. And then, yeah.
All right. So, we're kind of putting you, well, you didn't pay for it with your tuition. We paid for it.
Well, yeah.
Okay. But you could have paid for it fully with your student account in grants if we had just done it ourselves, right? We would have been able to make all those decisions ourselves instead of the money going to VRS, right?
Yeah.
And then them deciding how you spend it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, tools, equipment, and uniforms for participation and training are on the job. I don't know if you even knew that was part of it. Transportation to get to work. Well, we're gonna go into that. Did you even know that we could have been getting transportation?
Yep.
And why have I been having to drive you every single day up to 4 hours a day?
Because they told me that there wasn't.
Oh, interesting. Remember, VRS is getting $3.5 million a year in taxpayer dollars to make sure she goes to school so that she doesn't have to be on Social Security for the rest of her life and have us support her forever. Okay?
Back in September, I had asked if there was any way they could help, and they said no. And then I asked again in October, and then they connected me with someone else, and she's like, yeah, there is. But then, like, we had to do the training, and I couldn't do the training because I had to walk 4 blocks. I can't walk 4 blocks.
I understand. Especially in the snow.
Well,
I
well,
mean,
it's
you
stupid.
can't really take a scooter out through the snow unless they start making them with snowplows.
Well, it's stupid to ask someone who's disabled to if they can walk 4 blocks.
Yeah, I already know. That's why you're getting these services anyway. It's constantly proving that you're disabled over and over when you're on Social Security disability because you're disabled. Did you want to be on Social Security? Do you want to be disabled, Orion?
No.
Would you rather just be able to walk and drive like everyone else? Okay. Ugh. Okay, so how about exploring an option for starting a small business? Has anyone talked to you at all about this? Do they know about Mecca? Make Everyone Count Always, our company.
Yes. And they also know that I want to start my own nonprofit.
Oh, they know you want to start your own nonprofit. What do you want to do, Orion?
I want my own nonprofit for taking pictures for families and children with chronic illnesses. So I want it to be free for them, but have organizations pay for it. So because it would be better for them.
For like the Arthritis Foundation and seniors too,
And
right?
seniors,
yeah. So you could be at the Alzheimer's Association, right? And you could be doing free family photos with. Yeah. And then the association would be paying the cost for you to continue doing this amazing service for families, which I love, and Mecca will be supporting. Obviously. Oh, sorry. Wrong highlight. This is the one we wanted. Their customized VR services are customized to adapt to each person's unique circumstances.
I think this one would count as like the paper.
Yeah, software, PDAs, and the tools and equipment. Probably it's on the job training, so.
For participation.
Yeah, for participation. They're even supposed to pay for uniforms, so why wouldn't they pay for paper? Anyway.
Sorry.
No, you're right. No, you're totally right. And have you done a self-assessment with them to identify your own strengths and interests? Or you probably did maybe in the beginning. Who knows?
I don't know.
Who cares at this point? I'm like, who cares? We already got all that done, but we're going to save this, the tip sheet, okay? We're going to save that, and we're going to go on to the details, right, of how, all right, the contest queen. It's weird, like, looking at you and saying it, even though I call you it all the time. Like, I don't know. So I had a bad day yesterday when I tried to do this on my own, and I got angry at the contest queen. But then after I looked at it again this morning, it all came clear. I was probably just still not feeling well or something, but so I'm going to start. I know that we had these all over. Okay, I highlighted where I wanted to talk about, so. So, I just did it again. Okay, I know, it's driving me nuts. So, why don't you tell us what happened, what you were looking for when these emails from VRS, your counselor, you don't need to say their names, though. We're not going to get that mean.
So I'm a graphic designer, or going to school for graphic design. And so in one of my classes, I have to make a book and a container to go with the book. And it's a huge project because it has to go in my portfolio. And you have to pass the portfolio to go on to the actual major, and so this is a huge project. And so I was asking for the materials along with, or the materials for both the book and the box. And they said okay to the materials for the book box, but I needed paper for the book. And
how much are we talking about, first of all?
For what?
For all of this.
I would say, well, so the paper for the book is for the whole semester would be $80.
Okay, so we're talking about not a lot of money here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How many emails do you think went back and forth for this $80, really? It was about $80, right?
Well,
$80 plus how much was it for the materials at Michael's?
I don't know, maybe like $40.
Okay. So we're talking about a very, very small amount of money, right?
Yeah.
How many emails did it take to get this done? 22 emails. Okay, right? And what was your experience like? Let me see. Let me read one little tidbit, okay? And this is actually from the manager, so the boss of your counselor, okay? Because the counselor has been having so many issues getting things done. It seems that the boss had to take over the $80 plus, $120, let's say. Under $150, this is all over.
Plus my counselor is really slow.
Oh. Yes, because we really, yeah. The printing, we're not able to pay ahead of time for you. This is one where the fiscal services will not allow us to prepay. You need to pay for it yourself. Send me a receipt and then we will reimburse you for the cost, like you had to do with the Adobe. Okay? How does that make you feel when you're being talked that way? Let me see. Where is the one you had sent before that? The 13th. I just went to try to print my project and I was denied. I haven't printed anything from the Gopher Gold card yet. I was wondering what you put the $80 on. I would really like this to resolve sooner than later. Also, there was a highlighted message sent back, right?
Yep.
Where is this part of it? Oh, yes. Here is the part of the email I sent you on October 1st explaining how to be reimbursed for those costs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fiscal Services is getting really strict on what we pay for consumers. Can we again reiterate the fact that if we would have just done this all ourselves without VRS, we would just have the funds ourselves to make all these decisions with without any approval? We would just be paying for them out of the account, correct?
Yeah.
So they're getting the money that you would have got in grants.
Yeah.
And then telling you how you can and cannot spend it.
Yeah.
And being a bit of a jerks.
Yep.
And wasting our time. 20 emails over a month period to be able to get funding for $120.
And the thing is, when I was printing the paper, my professor was right there with me. So I felt kind of like weird since I was denied. Because I'm like, I was ready to go and everything, and then it says I'm denied. Well, my professor's standing right there. I mean, she's cool and everything, but still
it's
not
embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. It's a hurdle that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Just put the money on the card.
Mm-hmm.
You can see what she's spending the money on.
Yeah.
Can they not?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's actually a card for your school, right?
Yep.
And can you use that card to go get food or anything like that?
Yeah, you can, but I don't.
But when they see
Yeah.
the charges, what is being spent on what?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. The highlight from October 1st did outline, but it was kind of, didn't you say it's hard to kind of understand?
Yeah.
They are not going to allow us to prepay you the $80 for the printing services.
But
It says that, but
so when we were talking about this back in October, I guess, I thought they had meant that they had already put the $80 on the card.
so not additional too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I thought they were like, next time you're gonna have to be reimbursed.
Well, it
That's what I
says the
thought.
authorization is already in place, so you can make those purchases and submit receipts right away. So that means like you can go ahead and make the purchases and submit the receipts. So who cares? But you said I thought I already had $80. Whatever, right? You need to pay for it yourself. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, and the fact is, like, these people are not coming out here. Like, they are not going into their own pockets to get this money. It's crazy. Where's the first? Oh, right here. Oh, the attachment did go through, so please send me that again. Okay.
This is the first email from them.
This is the first one from her boss, right? Yeah. As I talked about my email on 10/1, our fiscal services office will not allow me to prepay you for printing. So for that piece, you will have to pay for it and then submit a receipt to me and we will reimburse you. The authorization is in place with the $80 that they recommended should cover you for the semester, so we should be good there. So why not just put the $80 on the card if that's what the professor said it was, instead of making you go through all this work, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and then this. I can help you purchase supplies for your project, but you will need to put together an estimate. She's not helping. VRS is. If you were helping, we'd be getting a check from you, Chris. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. But nobody knows what, they just know it's VRS. There can be a million Chris's. Will they need to be purchased from all the stores you listed or just one? Could I purchase them online or will we need to actually go to the store? The one thing I will caution you about with going to the store is that my state credit card may get denied just like it did at Paradigm. When that happens, we have to leave the items and I have to go back to the office and send an email to get special approval for a purchase of $80. When you do, yeah, so it was 40. When you do your estimate, if you can send me actual pictures or item numbers and the store they are located at, I can try to do the purchases online. And if the card is denied, they can get the proper approval and try again. If I do an online purchase, I can have the item shipped to your address. Or if there's an order online and pick up in the store option, we can do that as well. So, annoying. Okay, that's all I have to say. It's annoying, right?
Yes.
Does it make you want to reach out and ask for assistance?
No.
Does it feel like they're your cheerleaders?
No.
Okay.
That's why I haven't
Moving on.
multiple times.
You haven't utilized their services multiple times even though they're getting your grant money?
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting $3.5 million to treat you like creating barriers that don't need to be there. So next we wanted to talk about the Metro Mobility. These are great programs. I'm not saying they're not. We're not saying they're not. They're awesome programs. They should be in existence. We're just saying the people, individuals who are working there need some lessons in how to do their jobs correctly, starting with, what do you need the most? What did you say in the beginning?
Support.
Support. And what do you think support means? What is the first thing in support?
Caring.
Caring. Oh, ding, 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 ding. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I know I'm like this. That's why you all should want me, because I'm going to help you get everything you need. Because we're going to, like, you know, call on the resources to step up and do a better job. Hire the right people who care. Maybe parents of children who have had disabilities.
For people with disabilities.
Oh, that would be a great one. People with disabilities, can you imagine? That's who we want to hire. Those two groups, that's who we want, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hi, Courtney. I'm officially eligible for Metro Mobility unconditionally. Wait a second. It even goes back further than this, right? When you even asked about getting, and then they told you that you, I saw it already, but it's in there where you asked if they could help you with transportation services, and they said no, and then finally you said again, and they said, well, here's this chick's number, right? So, and then it's this. I'm officially eligible for Metro Mobility unconditionally. I know that you guys said you can help with the payment for the pass. What do I have to do to get that? If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. I will let you know. And I will let the boss know. And she can calculate the amount to authorize based on the days you need transportation to and from school. Did you meet with the other person from Go Dakota? She can help you become certified. Yes, I met with her from Go Dakota. She gave me the stuff for Metro Mobility. We're going to do the transportation training on normal transport, but we learned that to switch to one of the buses, I would have to walk 4 blocks, and I can't do that. Also, I have signed up for spring semester classes, and once my classes end for the fall semester, I will email the professors. I can see if I can get the supplies list ASAP. Let me know if you need anything for this spring semester right now. I'm glad you were meet with her. Just for future planning purposes, are you going to be using Metro Mobility, or do you plan to drive at some point? How old are you?
22 or 21. Gonna be 22.
Do you want to be driving, Orion?
Yes.
Orion would love to be driving. Sorry. I said it again, okay? Y'all know her name, but she is the conscious queen. Obviously, I'm not conscious right now. So this is her answer. I would have had a much more detailed answers as to why the hell are you asking me this? Like, stop putting me in this position of explaining at my age why I need to utilize Metro Mobility. So, well, my last surgery last year kind of messed up things. And after I did the driving practice with Courage Kenny, which was also an issue. Okay? And they never even took you out on what?
The highway.
So do you feel comfortable driving, even if you had all the accommodations for your car?
Nope.
Okay. I am hoping next fall I will be able to drive, but you can't always guarantee it with my health. I might need to do my other ankle in the summer. It's just, sorry. I don't think that she needs to even know that stuff. And I think the way that they ask is not being supportive. It brought tears to your eyes right now. And when I see somebody bring tears to her eyes, do you know what I want to do? I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now. One day, I would like to bring tears to their eyes. Sorry. I don't mean to bring out the evil side on camera, but all right. So next up, next problem.
When I had to take last year off to do my ankle because I had a sprained ankle, and so I actually had to do it. They weren't very supportive at all. Like, they didn't want me to do it, basically. And they were like, well, this is the only time you can take a year off, basically. And if you do it again, you'll get kicked out of VRS.
So you're going to get kicked out of VRS possibly because you have to get a surgery?
Yeah, because you can only take a year break.
Because that makes a lot of sense. Let's kick you out of a program that can help you be able to be off of subsidies that you'll be on for your entire life if you don't receive an education, right? And the only reason that you would even take a break is because of a medical reason, which is why you're even utilizing the program in the first place.
Yep.
Okay. Let's go on to the next problem, quick. So, hello. I'm having a problem with Metro Mobility, and I was wondering if you could help. Now, remember, it did say in the tip sheet that they help with transportation. I just emailed a reservation to be picked up, and I was sent back an email saying your eligibility is not correct in the system. It says your eligibility starts on 11/8/2019. And it's what? 2000. It's 2018. It's November. So basically a year from now, she can start using Metro Mobility. Yay! So, unfortunately, we can't schedule any rides until this time. So when I received my eligibility, or the Conscious Queen is saying, that I am eligible for Metro Mobility, it said that I'm eligible until 12/2022. And my number is blah, 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 and that I may begin using the services immediately. I also emailed them and called them, but I was hoping you could possibly help figure this out sooner. This is the response. How many days later? Because she said, sorry, just getting back to you. Well, it's just a day later, but whatever. Unfortunately, the only thing I can suggest is you call the other person. For real.
Yep.
No, we can't help you. You need to call somebody else. But it said in the tips that they assist with transportation, does it not? It's all right. I figured it out myself. Okay, that's it for today on the dark side of the long-term services and supports industry. But for what I have, I just want to, first of all, obviously thank the Conscious Queen for coming on camera, which she really doesn't like to do, and sharing her experiences for all of you so that you understand or have a better idea, okay, when we are discussing the lack of compassion, the lack of tact in communication towards our care recipients, care receivers. And this also happens to the caregivers all the time. So that is just one example. We can give you millions of more because we have 21 years experience with it. So we can just start listing them off. But we would love other people to share their experiences so we can all start working on this together, right?
Yep.
How would we best be able to support you, our conscious queen, in if we were able to make a VRS that works perfectly? What is the number, let's say, what are the 3 things that we could do that we talked about in the beginning?
Have compassion and understanding and be supportive.
And get things done maybe on time would be a good one too.
Yeah.
So they need compassion, understanding, which is like knowledge and wisdom. So they do need to be educated. Okay. And then we need things to be happening today, not tomorrow. So by this date,
and
this
by
is,
them,
not
by
passing the buck?
By the care receiver.
Oh, you mean like instead of me being your transportation, they actually handle one of the things that they're supposed to do? Yeah. And they handle it instead of making you handle it, right? Mm-hmm. So when they pass the buck to the other individual through Go Dakota or whatever, mm-hmm. right? They could have probably handled that, making that easy transition or making sure that everything was running smoothly, almost like a project manager would, kind of like their job.
Like for Metro Mobility, it was ridiculous because I had to first meet with Go Dakota, then I had to fill out the form for Metro Mobility, then I had to go to my doctor and have that form filled out, and then because I have a secondary diagnosis, I had to go to another doctor and have her write a letter, and then altogether I had to mail all of those.
So if we just made our app where this would already all be done and it could be in a shared system where we just send the information, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe have VRS. Yeah, because they already have all this information, right? Because we continually have to utilize the same information everywhere we go. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a waste of your time, and your whole life ends up being chasing, jumping hurdles and chasing, making their lives much more impossible to ever reach their goal, or which would be all of our goals, to have people working, right? Yep. So sometimes it would just be easier to sit back and watch TV. But we're so proud of you. And we're so happy that you continue to keep doing it all despite all the obstacles, right?
Yes.
All right. Love you. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Comment, share, like, donate, subscribe. Please.